So last class we have discussed about the passage of air to the lungs. Okay, the pathway in which the air passes to the lungs. So what is the pathway? First the air enters to nose, that is nostrils. Then it passes to nasal cavity. Then through pharynx. Then through larynx. Then to trachea. Then to trachea is divided into two parts, bronchi. Each bronchi goes into one lung. Okay, the bronchi is further divided into small branches called bronchioles. On the bronchioles, we have small air sacs, that is small grape-like structures, that is nothing but alveoli, where the exchange of gases takes place between alveoli and blood. So this is the passage of air from nostrils to lungs. Now we will see we will discuss about first the structure of lung, then we will discuss about each and every pathway. Okay, so first let us discuss about the structure of lung. Okay, structure of lung. Lungs are situated in the, humans have two lungs. Okay, humans have two lungs. They are situated in thoracic cavity. They are situated in thoracic cavity. Okay, they are situated in thoracic cavity. The size of the right lung is, the left lung is slightly smaller than the right lung. Okay, so all of you know that humans have two lungs. Okay, then they are situated in the thoracic cavity. What is thoracic cavity? So if you see the thoracic cavity, see, this is, I'm just drawing a rough diagram of lungs. Okay, now see, what is thoracic cavity? The part, so we know that lungs are protected by rib cage. Now imagine that you inside on this we have like this rib cage. We have the rib cage like this. Okay, after the rib cage we have lungs. Okay, so if you imagine that, if you remove the lungs and if only imagine the rib cage, how it will be? This is our rib cage. Okay. On the back side of the rib cage, you have lungs. Imagine now you don't have lungs. So there will be some empty space behind the back side of the rib cage. That space is called as thoracic cavity. Actually, you can say in the simpler form, this is our diaphragm. This is what? Diaphragm. Okay, this is our. So above the diaphragm, the cavity is called as, that is the cavity is called as thoracic cavity, and below this is called as alimentary cavity. Okay, so above the diaphragm it is called as thoracic cavity. Below this diagram we have our digestive parts like stomach, pancreas, intestine are situated below the diaphragm. So above the diaphragm all the respiratory parts are situated. So this is called as thoracic cavity. So above the diaphragm part, the place is called as thoracic cavity. Now imagine that if you remove the lungs from the rib cage, so the empty space is present. That space is nothing but it is a part of thoracic cavity. That's why lungs are situated in the thoracic cavity. Okay. Now I said that the two lungs are of different sizes. Is it correct? I am saying that the right lung is somewhat larger than the left lung. The right lung is larger than the left lung, or the left lung is somewhat smaller than the very minute difference, somewhat smaller than the right lung. Why? Because to create space for very important organ. What is that? Heart. For heart. Okay. So in between the lungs, we have seen that in between the lungs, we have our heart. So heart is present mostly towards left side. We know that heart is major portion of the heart is present towards the left side. So that's why the left lung is slightly smaller than the right lung, because to create the space for the heart. Okay, so you should know that lungs and heart are protected by the rib cage. So lungs and heart are present in the thoracic cavity. Very important vital organs are present in the thoracic cavity. So what is thoracic cavity? The space above the diaphragm is called as thoracic cavity. Okay. So this is why the right lung is slightly smaller than the left lung. Now if you see the structure of lung, the lung is covered by two membranes. Lungs are covered by two membranes. So if this is your lung, it is covered by one more membrane. So lungs are made up of two membranes. These membranes are called as pleura. Okay. So lungs are covered by a membrane called pleura. So what is the function of pleura? It protects the lungs from external shocks. So the function of pleura is protect the lungs from external shocks. Okay? Protect the lungs from external shocks. Means, suppose suddenly someone hits you hardly here. So, your lungs and hearts are being protected by what? Rib cage. If somehow the rib cage is also not bearable, means the rib cage is also damaged. So, as we know that lungs are very important structure, so they are covered or they are packed with a membrane. That is nothing but pleura. So pleura protects the lungs from the external shocks. Now, in between the pleura, there is a fluid is present. Okay? In between the two membranes, a fluid is present, which is called as pleural fluid. Okay? So what will be the function of pleural fluid? Same. It protects the lungs from external damage, external shocks. The pleural fluid protects the lungs from the external shocks, and it helps the lung muscles helps the lung muscles when they are sliding upon each other. It protects them by friction. Okay, so see, lungs are always contracting and expanding. So there are some muscles in the lungs, spongy and elastic muscles. Okay, spongy and elastic muscles are present. So because of these muscles, lungs are contracting and expanding. While inhaling, the lungs you can feel when you breathe in air, your lungs will expand, and we are exhaling air, your lungs will contract. This is done by what? The muscles present on the lungs. So, to reduce the friction, means to reduce the force, or to remove the vacuum, you can say to remove the vacuum, the pleural fluid helps, okay, to reduce the pressure. Means continuously the spongy and elastic muscles are sliding upon one above the other. So for contraction, they will slide one upon the other. While expansion, they will move forward. Again contraction, they again slide upon one another. So while doing this, there will be some pressure created or some friction created. To remove that, the pleural fluid helps these muscles. Okay. So the function of pleural fluid is to protect the lungs from the external shocks and to remove the friction between the spongy and elastic muscles of the lung. Okay. Now, if you see the lungs, how it will be, whether they are hard or whether they are soft. Lungs are very soft. Lungs are soft, spongy. Lungs are soft, spongy in nature. Okay, they are very soft and spongy in nature. Okay, lungs are very soft and spongy in nature. So, the lungs, the interior of the lung is divided into millions of small chambers. The interior of lungs are divided into millions of small chambers. Okay, millions of small chambers. Okay, the lung, if you see the lung inside, it has so much filled, like lungs are completely filled with alveoli. So there I have said that there are millions of alveoli. So that means the lungs, interior of the lungs has millions of small chambers. Why they are so small and why they are so compactly packed? Enduku chinnaga closed ga pack ayi unnayante to create more space. see, if you observe a small intestine also, the small intestine is the longest part of the digestive system. Okay, small, just recall the nutrition chapter. Small intestine is the longest part of the digestive system. Longest part of the digestive system. If you recall the digestive system, so this is our stomach and this is our duodenum and this is our large intestine and this is our small intestine. This is our small intestine. Why small intestine is like this, coiled in the form of tube? Because there are so many millions of microvilli present in the small intestine which helps in the absorption of food. So, if they are folded to create more space, not to create more space, to means for absorption to absorb more, they are folded to స్పేస్ తగ్గించి ఉన్న అంటే ఏంటంటే తక్కువ స్పేస్లో ఎక్కువ అబ్జర్వ్ చేసుకునేది కావాలి కాబట్టి సో దే ఆర్ మోర్ ఫోల్డెడ్. ఓకే, అండర్స్టూడ్? దే ఆర్ వై దే ఆర్ ఫోల్డెడ్ మీన్స్ టు for more absorption in less space. See, if you take a saree, if you have this only a small box with you and in that you need to keep 10 sarees, you need to keep 10 sarees, what you will do? You will keep the saree like that or you will fold into small foldings and keep definitely you will fold into small foldings and keep. Why? To lessen the space and to keep more things in that. Like that, in the small intestine is folded into so many folds because for absorption, because in the less space, there is less space but absorption should be more. Then it is done because of folding. Okay, the same principle is applied in the lungs also. Lungs have millions of small chambers, in them millions of alveoli are there. So I told you, if you take the alveoli, it will be almost 160 meters square. So imagine the distance. Okay, imagine the length. So how much big the length will be? So that's why they are folded into so small structures in that very compact space, because the folding will definitely lessens the space and helps in more exchange of gases. Okay, అర్థమైందమ్మా? ఎందుకంటే లంగ్స్ లో లోపల చాలా కాంపాక్ట్ మిలియన్స్ ఆఫ్ ఛాంబర్స్ ఉంటాయి. అక్కడ ఎందుకు అలా ఉంది, ఎక్కువ స్పేషియస్గా ఎందుకు లేదు అంటే స్పేస్ లేదు అక్కడ. తక్కువ స్పేస్లో ఎక్కువ ఎక్స్చేంజ్ ఆఫ్ గ్యాసెస్ జరగాలి. సో అది ఏముంటుందంటే లంగ్స్ ఛాంబర్స్ స్మాల్గా ఫోల్డ్ అయిపోయినాయి. ఆ స్మాల్ ఫోల్డింగ్స్లోనే మనకి చాలా ఆల్వియోలై ఫిట్ అయిపోయి ఉంటాయి. సో ఆ ఫిట్ అవటం వల్ల అక్కడ గ్యాసెస్ ఎక్స్చేంజ్ జరుగుతుంది. క్లియర్? ఓకే, నౌ okay, the total lung capacity is almost 1500 ml of air. Okay, ml of air. The total lung capacity is almost, sorry, not 1500, 58,000. The total lung capacity is almost 5000 ml of air. Okay, if we can take almost 5000 ml of air in our lungs. Okay, our lungs can accommodate this much ml of air. So when normally in rest, or normally when you are in the rest condition, you inhale or exhale, you inhale or exhale 580 ml, 500 ml of air. Means while in the rest condition, means you are not doing any activity, then almost you inhale or exhale 500 ml of air. After exhaling also, even 120 ml of air still remains in the lungs. Still remains in lungs. Okay. After exhaling also, 120 ml of, now you have inhaled air. After you exhale also, the lungs, you may think that lungs are completely empty. No, it's wrong. You have still 120 ml of air inside your lungs. Because if air is not there, if entire air is coming out, what happens? The lungs will collapse. So some amount of air is remained in the lungs to make it to be in its shape and size. If entire air is coming out, the lungs will collapse. That's why 120 ml of air is still remaining in the lungs. Okay. This is about the structure of lungs. So very easy topic. The lungs are 2 in number in human beings. They are situated in the thoracic cavity of the human body, and the left lung is somewhat slightly smaller than the right lung to create the space for the heart. Lungs are soft and spongy in nature. They are covered by 2 membranes called pleura. The function of pleura is to protect the lungs. In between the pleura, there is a fluid called pleural fluid. So the main function of pleural fluid is protecting the lungs from the external shocks and to help the elastic and spongy muscles to reduce their friction. Okay. Next, inside, if you see the inside of the lungs, inside the lungs have millions of chambers in which millions of alveoli are present. Though we look from outside, the lungs look very small in structure, but if you see the interior of the lung, the space is so much larger, but to absorb more air, the chambers are so compactly arranged and folded. They are very folded to occupy more chambers in small space to occupy more chambers. They are folded, compactly arranged. In this compactly chambers, we have so many alveoli. In this alveoli, exchange of gases takes place. Okay. So almost 5,800 ml of air is the capacity of the lungs. Each lung, each lung. Okay. So this while rest, how much air we can inhale and exhale, and how much air is still remain in the lungs while. So still some air is remained in the lungs after exhaling, because it prevents the lungs from collapsing. Okay. Thank you.